welcome back to day 26 of my 100-day health challenge. So I'm on my trip, I'm visiting my parents, and so I am checking in to share kind of how the day went. So I have started getting back onto my more normal routine after being sick last week. And what I'm also adding in this week is really focusing in on the movement aspect, the exercise routines, and also actually starting to track some things more consistently. I think it's very important to get into the habit of just eating healthier and actually just introducing healthy things to your nutrition, as well as your other aspects of health. But it is important at some point to start actually tracking things as well. Now, if this is hard for you and it's difficult, don't make it overly complicated. If you're a details person, you may want to record all of your nutrition and get down into the very details of what is in each type of food you're eating and the amount of servings. If you're less detail oriented and the details just overwhelm you, well, don't worry about it. Just look up the generics of how much, carbs and proteins am I getting, or whatever you're focusing on. So for me, my big two numbers I'm focusing on are carbs and proteins per meal. And so for carbs, remember I said I want no more than 30 grams of carbs per meal, and then no less than 30 grams of protein. And so it's that kind of 30, but no more for carbs and no less for protein, because you want to be replacing lots of protein to help with muscle building and to help you making sure you're getting good nutrition. And you want to lower the carbs so that when you're burning calories and all that, you're burning straight up into fat, not the carbs and things first. And so for example, today I started recording more detail of what I'm actually eating and intaking. So this morning's breakfast, I actually fixed. I ate with my parents this morning, and so we fixed about 5 boiled eggs, and I only ate 3 of them. Now I actually started with 2 to see how I was doing, and I've been eating slowly because the slower you eat, the sooner you can feel when you're really full. We're really bad about eating way too fast, and then we think we're still hungry, but we're really actually not. So if you eat slow, enjoy the food, enjoy the taste, actually feel what your body's telling you. So I ended up eating 3 8-minute boiled eggs. Okay, so just normal large eggs, ate 3 of those. And again, I did an 8-minute hard boil. And then I did about 3.5 pieces of bacon. These were healthier bacon, so not as sugary or a lot less sodium to them. And so I had 3.5 pieces of bacon, and I had a 1/2 cup of blueberries, about 1/4 cup of plain Greek yogurt, about 2% Greek yogurt. And then I did go ahead and have like a small mug, about 10 to 12 ounces of unsweet extra bold black cold brew coffee. And so for total, I actually went ahead and added it all up. I looked at all the nutrition. If you ever have a question, by the way, of nutrition, Google it. Don't reinvent the wheel. It's everywhere. You can find nutrition facts everywhere, even if they're not on a label. You can Google them and you'll be close. You don't have to get so gung-ho about it that you're all the way down to the details, unless that's what you love. If that's what you love, do it. But I just Googled a couple of them that I wasn't quite sure about. So for breakfast, I totaled in about 17 to 18 grams of carbs, so good number, and about 38 to 39 grams of protein, which is excellent. And really, if you wanted to do the calories in there, it was about a 581 calorie breakfast. Not bad at all. Very, very good. Then right after breakfast, and of course I had my supplements with my breakfast. So I had my one Terrazyme, I had 1 PB Assist, I had my 2 XE Omega, my 2 Alpha CRS, my 2 Microplex VMZ, 1 of the Meta Power soft gels, the oil soft gels, and then I had, that was it for the supplements. And then after breakfast, I had about 10 ounces of water to 1 packet of the MetaPower Advantage. Just shook that up, drank it. Then for lunch, I had a leftover taco from when I ate with my parents last night. So last night they wanted me to try this local place, and it was really, really good. And I had a shrimp salad, which was really delicious, and it felt much less heavy, and it was very light, very vegetable full. But today I had a taco left over, and so I just ate 1. It was, I tried to get a healthier taco, so I ended up getting a mahi-mahi fish taco. And so I got a blackened mahi-mahi fish taco with, it had a little cilantro white sauce, some cheese, some little cabbage and tomatoes in it, and a little bit of guacamole. So that was probably the heaviest thing I have eaten and will eat today. And I Googled, again, Google is a very good friend for when you're looking for nutrition facts. I Googled it to see kind of what most blackened tacos, because I couldn't find the nutrition facts on the website of the restaurant. So I went, because some do have them, some don't. So I went ahead and Googled it and was able to find that for this particular taco, it probably has around 59 grams of carbs, maybe anywhere from 40 to 60. And then for protein, it's actually 50 to 60 grams of protein. So a very high protein, but also very high carbs, just because it had a healthier but more carb heavy puff taco shell. And so it's still really good. And I was okay with that because where I knew my other meals would be less carb heavy, it was all right. So that was my other suggestion. If you know you're going to have, like you're going to go out to a restaurant and you're going to have a carb heavier meal, then just make up for it in the next meal. Just treat the next meal as a new thing and say, okay, well, I know I had heavier carbs earlier. Maybe I'll go for something lighter for dinner. So that's what I did. I had a blackened mahi-mahi taco for lunch. And then I had a fourth a cup of blackberries and a fourth cup of blueberries for a total lunch thing of about, 59 grams of carbs was the meal total, and about 51 grams of protein was the meal total. So the mahi-mahi taco was actually about 40, or I'm sorry, oh, I'm getting this confused. Sorry, I'm looking at my list of things I wrote down. So actually my taco was about 50 grams of carbs and about 40 grams of protein. So then I added about another 10 when it came to the fruit and all that. So the meal averaged at 60 grams of carbs and about 50 grams of protein. So still an okay amount. Now I haven't eaten dinner yet, but I will within the next probably 15 minutes to half hour. And so dinner, we fixed a seasoned oven chicken breast. So I'll have an oven chicken breast, either half a serving if it's really big, or not half a serving, but half a breast, or a full one. And about a half a cup of oven roasted seasoned broccoli, and it has some olive oil in it, so I took that into account. And then about a half a cup of cucumber slices. And that total, I may have a fourth a serving of rice. It's a long grain wild rice, so it's not quite as heavy as white rice, or it's a different than brown rice, but it is a little bit seasoned. So if I do that, it'll be about 18 grams of carbs and 29 grams of protein. So it'll still be good. It'll be within a good range. And if I drop the rice and eat more broccoli, it'll be even less carbs and about the same amount of protein, but it will kind of make up as well for lunch. So it depends on how I'm feeling, how hungry I am. I could always eat lots more cucumbers. Those are always healthy and less carb heavy as well. So the point is to make sure that you're full, that you're filled, but that you're taking your time eating so that you know you're actually full and you're not overeating. But you don't want to starve yourself. That's not healthy at all either. So you want to make sure that you know your goals. You know where you can give and take a little bit throughout the day. So this is why I am starting to track more. But I didn't do that at first. My first goal, now if that's something you do well, then do that first. But my first goal was to just change the way I was eating. To not even be tracking, to just say, I'm going to buy more vegetables. I'm going to buy more chicken, or more tofu, or more fish over, say, something like pork or beef or whatever. I don't know. I don't really eat a lot of beef or pork anyways, but the point is to make gradual changes. So now I'm going to start tracking it. But if I had started trying to track the first 3 weeks, it would have been overwhelming because I haven't done it in so long. So the point was to try to start with something simple changes, and then add as I go. Now for movement, I had a successful dance workout today of 25 to 30 minutes. And I mean, my parents probably thought it was hilarious because I ranged through all kinds of different music. I was listening to, like, for example, metal bagpipe, to electro swing. I had like some songs from Fast and Furious, and I had like another like folk metal band on there. So I had like the range of music, but something to keep my heart rate up for 25 to 30 minutes while I did just random dance. Again, this is something I like to do. I just like to dance and feel the music and and be upbeat. And sometimes I'll do actual, stretches and things within that. I might start doing more, you can always YouTube different actual dance workouts. It's very important to be focusing on muscle building as well, not just fat burning. Muscle building is good because you want to be replacing that and not neglecting that side of things too. So a lot of resistance training is what I should say, resistance training. And you can find dance workouts and things. I would say do whatever you like. So whatever your exercises that you like, you want to enjoy exercise and movement. It's not all about making yourself suffer. We kind of have this tendency to think, oh, I'm exercising, I have to suffer through this. That's not true. You want to make it something you can enjoy because you're more likely to do it then. Now, if you feel like, for example, dance is your escape, and if you make your workout dance, it's going to ruin it for you, well, don't do dance then. Do like your next favorite thing. Like, let's say you like to hike. Well, okay, so dance is still your escape, your stress relief. That's fine. Don't make that your exercise, and then make hiking or running your exercise, whatever it may be. So for me, I really like to walk, and I like to dance. And so lately, especially where the weather's getting colder, I'm doing a lot more dance, but that's what I did today. I just played a series of songs, some of my favorites. I'm going to try to create some playlists too, but it depends on what mood I'm in. Sometimes I'll play different types of music. I have YouTubed different dance workouts. You can find some for beginners. You can find them for more advanced. You can find everything and anything. You can purchase DVDs, whatever you want to do. I know Amazon has really good ones. And most streaming services these days have like exercise programs and stuff on videos. And so I would suggest doing something like that, but do what's going to make you happy while you're doing it. So along with that, I just wanted to give some updated goals. So after I talked yesterday about day 25, so I have lost 18.6 pounds over 25 days. Now going forward, looking at 50, I want to adjust my weight loss goals. So my goal is to still lose 1 to 3 pounds per week. So that's a healthy range. 3 would be ideal, 1 would be the minimum. And so I have about 3 weeks to go. So I'm saying about because the days are a little different. But if I look at day 50, that's about 3 weeks from now, which means I'm looking to lose 3 to 9 pounds by day 50, which would be a total, if I add that to the 18.6 I've already lost, I'm looking to have lost 25 to 30 pounds by day 50. Then it's about another 3.5 to 4 weeks until day 75, which means I would be looking to lose 4 to 10 pounds over those 3 weeks, which means by day 75, I'm looking to lose a total of 30 to 40 pounds. And then it's another about 3 weeks to day 100, which would mean another 3 to 9 pounds, that I'm looking to have a total weight loss of anywhere from 33 to 35 all the way to 50 pounds lost by day 100. And that just on the average of what I've done already, combined with still that 1 to 3 pounds per week. So that's my goal. So in day 50, my hope is to see that I've lost 25 to 30 pounds at least. That's my main kind of minimum maximum goal. And so that's kind of where I'm measuring from. And then like I said, I'm going to be measuring more my movement and exercise 2 to 3 days a week, 30 minutes for each of those days, whether that's all in one 30-minute session or in breaks. If I do more, that's great, but my minimum is 2, my middle ground is 3, and my maximum would be to do 4 days a week of movement, but I'm starting with 2 to 3 because I just want to really focus on just making the healthy changes first. So along those lines, I guess I just wanted to talk about how do you decide what you want to focus on? So for me, these are my goals, but I've thought through the why. And so I want you to do the same thing. Why is extremely important. Your why should always inform and inspire and help create the what. You don't necessarily want to start with the what, because everyone's what is just as different as their why. So for example, if you have a friend who's doing, well, let's take the 100-day example for now, since I'm doing a 100-day challenge. Let's say you see my 100-day challenge and you look at the things I'm focusing on and you decide to completely recopy those. Well, that's fine. That's great. I think that's awesome. But These have all been based on my why, and it could be that your why and your needs are different than mine, because we are all created differently. We all have unique physiology. We all have unique health needs. So I would encourage you. So let's say you see a friend doing a 10-day running challenge, or her goal is to run a marathon in a year, or in 100 days run a half marathon. Or maybe you have a friend who's all about building muscle, and they are doing workouts to build their muscle mass. So how do we know what we should do? Well, it's all informed about your why, because this is all about you. This is all about you and your health goals. So I would say, first you need to decide, why are you doing this? What is important to you? And it's your ultimate reason. It's not even necessarily a goal. It's your hopes and dreams of why you're even doing this. So for example, one of my big whys is, like I said last time, when I saw that scale last year and it basically go into error mode of potentially being anywhere from 395 to 400 pounds or over, my why was to realize, if that scale keeps going up, if my health keeps deteriorating, I may not be here for my nieces, my nephews. I may not be here for my family to help and support. I wouldn't be able to necessarily teach. Like, if I can't move, I can't teach. If my health declines, I may get autoimmune disease. You have a much higher chance of having cancer or heart disease or other things by being obese or overweight. And so for me, it was to look at, I believe that the years I've been given are a blessing. I don't know how many years those are. I hope it's 100 and beyond, which is again why I named this channel that. But if it's 100 and beyond, one, I'd like to make it to 100 and beyond. And two, if I make it to 100 and beyond but have regrets, if I haven't lived a full life, a life that inspires and changes the world and changes the people around me, then what was the point? What was the point? I was put here to be a light to the people around me. And if I don't do that, then what was the point? And so for me, my why is to do everything I can to live life to the fullest, to make it to 100, but to make those 100 years the best, influential, service-filled, loving years that I can, full of adventure, to be able to go on adventures myself, to take my nieces and nephews, my family on adventures, to take my students on adventures, to go around the world and travel and have the energy and excitement to do all these things. So for me, my why was all about living a life of fullness and vitality so that I can honor my purpose and calling. And so how do I then do that? So that then I realized, okay, so that means that I need to look at the specific areas of health and kind of diagnose how I'm doing in each of those areas. So maybe that's the next thing. Once you have your why, and the reason why the why is important first is, one, it's going to inform and inspire everything you do. And when those days get tough and you want to lay in bed and you want to give up, you're going to think of that why, and you're going to have a reason to overcome fear and a reason to overcome doubt and get up and do it. But then from there, you need to know, where do you want to focus and why do you want to focus there? So I look at the areas of health. So for me, I look at mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, social or relational health, financial, and then like job, occupational health, and then environmental health is a good one too. But looking at those areas, decide, where are you succeeding and where are you failing, or at least where can you make improvements. Failure is not final. So where are you doing well? Where are you not doing so great? So for example, I feel like I'm doing really well with making sure my environment around me is healthy and safe. I feel like my job is going really well. And yes, there's always improvements, but I feel like those areas are okay. And I feel like my mental and emotional have way improved over the years. So for me, it was really my physical health. And yes, I'd say actually some mental, emotional, the stress management and that kind of thing, because I haven't always been good at that. But I would say that physical health is my big thing right now. I'm doing well with spiritual, I'm doing well with social and relational, and I feel like those areas are better. Yes, they're definitely on my list of things to improve, but what's my biggest goal? Physical health. And so for me, I looked at those areas and I said, okay, physical health is where I need to focus. So then I looked at physical health and I looked at that pyramid I told you about. I looked at nutrition and SMART supplementation. I looked at rest and stress management. I looked at movement and metabolic health. I looked at informed self-care. I looked at, detoxing things around my environment and making it healthy. And I said, okay, what area of the physical health am I struggling the most in? And obviously my metabolic health and my nutrition and my rest and stress management are the worst. So I would say go from your why and pick one or two areas of health, like physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, social, relational, financial, or occupational, environmental. Pick, I'd say max 2 to start with. I'm actually focusing mainly on one. I am going to focus some on mental and emotional because it ties so closely to stress management. But I'd say focus on 1 or 2 of those areas. So find that. So for me, it was physical health. And then pick your top 2 to 3 areas. So for me, it was nutrition and SMART supplementation, rest and stress management, and movement and metabolic health. And so for that, I felt like the nutrition needed to be fixed first. So in the supplements, that's why I started the routine I did. I started with simply first taking supplements on a regular basis to build that habit. Then I started changing up the way I was eating. And then with rest and stress management, I've actually kind of left that one off to the side a little bit. Not completely, but I really wanted to focus on the nutrition and supplements first. And then I kind of have added in some of the emotional stress management while I was sick, for example. I had to find ways to help keep myself inspired and going. And then now, though, that I'm feeling better, I'm adding in that piece of movement and metabolic health. And those are my 3 big ones. So that was how I would encourage you to kind of find the why that's going to drive you through the toughest times, that's going to keep you going. Because if it's not strong enough, then you may have a hard time getting past the obstacles that are going to come up, the difficulties and the challenges. Then I would say pick your area of health, mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, social, etc. And then I would say within that, focus on then 2 to 3 main problems that you want to deal with in that area. And so, for example, if you chose spiritual health, it could be, so for example, for me, if it was spiritual health, I would say first and foremost, maybe it's a foundational thing. What are your foundational spiritual beliefs? That's a big one. Decide what you even think about things and believe. Then maybe it's finding a fellowship of people who agree with what you agree with. It is good to have a support of people who are going to both support you, encourage you, but also challenge you to look at what you believe, but you want that community. So whatever you believe. So maybe it's deciding first what you believe, and then 2, finding a community to be connected with. And then 3, maybe your other goal would be then putting, how do I put those daily practices? Maybe it's, prayer, maybe it's meditation, maybe it's fasting, maybe it's, I don't know what it is, what it looks like for you, but there are some ideas of like if you were going to do spiritual health. Or maybe social relational. Maybe you look at your family, your friends, and your coworkers. Maybe you want to improve family relationships first. Maybe you have some things in your family that you want to see improved. Maybe it's a spouse or a significant other. Maybe it's your friends. You feel like you're not doing enough in your friend health. Or maybe you just feel like you've moved to an area and you don't have friends. And so so your relational health is finding places to plug in and find friends. And then maybe with your coworkers, maybe you're at a job you don't love and you want to find a way to build a relationship with your coworkers to improve your work environment. I mean, those are all valid reasons. So I would say find your area of health that you want to focus on, and then find 2 to 3 things that you want to improve over a period of time. And for me, I'm focusing on the 100. Multiple reasons to me, of course, but 100 days is a really good kind of half a year. It's a good kind of gauge of, how am I gonna, or it's not even half a year, I should say it's even more like anywhere from 3 to 6 months. It's a good test period, trial period to start adding things in, building new habits, making changes, and doing those one health area at a time, or those 2 to 3 things at a time, spending 1 or 2 months at a time adding those in. And you can do whatever days you want, but for me, I like challenges. I like kind of creating competition for myself, but to inspire myself. And for me, it was, can I show up every day to help others and myself through video? And if I have to actually sit down and get in front of a camera, one, I love video creating, I love video editing, I love doing the pictures and the music and the fun. It helps me because it tells me I gotta show up every day for myself, but also because I'm hoping this will help other people too. I'm hoping it'll help you, inspire you, and give you ideas. So if I don't show up, I'm not showing up for myself and others. And so for me, then it was finding so from the what or from the why and the what, then to the how. For me, it was, okay, what goals, how am I going to improve these areas? So I came up with a goal for each area. And then how I am showing up every day to do a 100-day challenge. So there's just some ideas on maybe what's your 100? How do you do a challenge for yourself? What's your why and your what and your how? And and your where and your who, and it's really your 5W's and your H. It's your who, what, when, where, why, and then how. So maybe that's what it is. That's discovering your way of doing things. But anyways, that's my thing for the day. I hope that inspires you and helps you in some way. Let me know, please let me know if you have any ideas. I'm asking friends and family and what their ideas and suggestions are for a 100-day challenge, but I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. What should I do for a 100-day challenge? What should I focus on next? What are some of your suggestions of what's worked for you in movement or metabolic health or nutrition, recipes I should try, that kind of thing. And then I will continue to check in and have different things to share, and I hope these inspire you to create something for your own health. And let me know if you like the video. I'm getting better about asking that because I do like to know that you actually are enjoying this and what's helping and what's not. I love constructive feedback. So if you have suggestions or things that you like or don't like, I'd love to hear them. And so yeah, you guys have an awesome day. I will see you tomorrow. Bye.